Hi guys, welcome back to Sunday League to Champions League. My name is Chris, aka Big Will, and today we have games against Aston Villa and Derby County in the Premier League. Both sides are struggling a little bit. As you can see, Derby have just won against Sheffield Wednesday, but they are down near the bottom of the table, and Aston Villa having a shocking season so far. They are down in the relegation zone. And as you can see, yes, we've got a game in hand over the four teams above us, but we're dropping out of the pace at the moment. We are still within touching distance. Luckily, Arsenal have also dropped points a couple of times, but in terms of recent form, we're still really struggling, to be honest. We lost 2-1 in the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen. They completely outplayed us, and it was a very poor performance. We then managed two draws in the Premier League, 2-2 against Leeds. We were 2-0 up with, about 20 minutes? No, 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go. And they then scored twice through Jorge Castillo, and our defence just completely fell apart. And that was a huge 3 points dropped from our point of view. We then played Chelsea away and managed a 1-0 draw there. And once again, it was a late goal that saw us drop the points. And again, relatively even game. But for some reason, we seemed to lose concentration right at the end of the match. And we followed it up, though. We managed to win 2-1 against our rivals, Manchester City, and we were by far the better team in that game. It's the first time, really, that we've outplayed Manchester City. Haaland with a penalty, their only shot on target. So we really did play well in that game. And again, we turned up for the bigger game. So going into these two games, I'm not really sure what to expect, in all honesty, but we need two results today. And you know what? We're just going to go with the rotation. It, we're getting players coming to us who want to play, so we are really having to go out there and rotate now. And with the build-up of fixtures we've got in December, we've not really got much choice. Ducey wants to play more football. We've agreed to let him play more football when we get the chance to. But we've also loan listed him, and he has got interest in loan deals potentially. And we're going to try and loan out Marco Valencia as well in this transfer window. And there could be some movement in January, I will be honest. I'm not too sure exactly what kind of movement at the moment, but going toward the end of the season, I'm already getting ideas in my mind about bringing some of the younger players into the first team fold and letting some better quality players leave so that we've got a set first team and set players that can then come in, and they'll be happy with the rotation in playtime. So there's a lot of things to consider, but there are ideas floating around at the moment. So we've got tennis in goal today. Romano, Dixon, Usmanu and Correa at the back. Siles and Beinert in midfield with Alves, Guilherme and Medina in behind Morrell. So it's a big opportunity for Morrell today, starting up front. In terms of goal scoring, we're still doing reasonably well. Yes, we've struggled in recent fixtures, but for the number of goals that we've scored as a team overall, we're looking pretty strong at the moment. It's just a case of keeping our defence as tight as possible when we're getting toward the end of games. So I think it's going to be one of them things that we're going to have to just remind the team to stay focused in the last 10 minutes or so if the game still remains quite close. Um, in terms of form of the sides that we're playing in today's episode, Villa and Derby, like I say, they're down near the bottom of the table. They are two games that we have to win. There is no doubt about it. We have to be winning these matches. And for the aspirations we've got, even if they were playing well, we should be going into every game believing we can win. And at the moment, we just seem to have dropped off the pace. Jefferson plays it into Neuer, now Canedo. Beinert doing well to intercept. He's playing as the ball-winning midfielder today, Beinert. It's a bit of a change of role for him. Siles trying to find Alves, who couldn't quite get onto it. But it's swung in, and there is Guilherme with the header. And Guilherme, with his fourth of the season, again, he was our top scorer last season. 18 goals and 18 assists he got last year. He was really a key player, but he seems to have fallen out of the fold a bit this year. But we have agreed to give him a bit more playtime as well. And because of certain players wanting a bit more game time, excuse me, sorry, the likes of Youngblood and Rob Dahl might miss out a little bit. Rob Dahl has struggled to really get into the fold, to be fair. And I'm also tempted to give him a loan move until the end of the season. He was a very expensive signing, of course. But when we had the chance to sign Sonogo, obviously that pushed him down the pecking order a little bit. Medina, very poor again from him. He really is hot and cold, Medina. He's one of the best players in the world at this moment in time. But for whatever reason, he just can't keep his form consistent. Here's Olivares in back to Timber. Ramsey strikes from distance. It's a great block by Bynert. He's had a decent start to the game today, to be fair, Bynert. He seems to be settling into that role in the midfield today as Guilherme charges down the left-hand side, swings it in. Medina actually wins the header and it comes off the crossbar. I mean, Medina is one of the smallest players in the squad at 5'7", and yet he managed to win the header there at the far post. It remains 1-0, but we need to take control of this game and get a second goal. Here is Juan Cruz Moral into Medina, charges down this right-hand side. He's finally got a bit of space to work. Can he get the ball into the penalty area? He swings it into the far post. Badola doing well to punch clear and find Elliott, but Bynert again intercepting and picking up in that midfield. Siles into Romano. Chance for maybe once again to get the ball into the penalty area. Plays it back to Siles. Quinton Timber intercepts, but it's fallen for Laureano Alves. And again, it's just not quite clicking just yet. Alves, again, trying to find a pass. Finds Guilherme in the centre. It's a good turn. He gets tripped up by Fisher. That's a great pass out wide, and Correa is there. And there is the square ball into Morrill. And there is the second goal. And Correa did really well down that right-hand side. He was very well found as well. Obviously, we'll see the replay in a moment. Can't remember who it was that made the pass. Guilherme got tripped up there. Alberto Siles it was, with a lovely pass into Correa. He had the space, laid it across the penalty area, and the keeper, I'm not entirely sure what he was doing. He didn't really commit to getting hold of the ball there. But as we did against Leeds, we've started quite well here. And we've got a 2-goal advantage. If we can get a few wins in December, obviously the confidence will come back up. And Guilherme from distance there. Badola had to get a touch on that. And it's out for a corner. It was a really good effort from distance. It was a huge distance as well, wasn't it, really? Guilherme swinging it in. And Elliott manages to clear, but Morrill challenging with Hlozek. Guilherme into Dixon. Now Siles into Romano. Knocking the ball about on the edge of the penalty area, and the highlight does continue here. Romano does give it away to Elliott, and then the clearance is made. But Villa not really offered anything in the match so far. Possession-wise, we're certainly edging it at 60% now, but it's been pretty close in the way of possession throughout the game. But we've been certainly the more dangerous side today, and we'll tell the lads to keep up their performance so far. Obviously, the win against Manchester City in the Champions League is a huge confidence boost for us. I think it's the first time, in all honesty, that we've beaten Manchester City here at Manchester United. You'll probably correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a big, big boost to the confidence of the lads, and hopefully we can just build on it from there and get our form back to the way it was at the start of the campaign. Romano charging into the centre of the pitch there from left back, and now Medina. He's got support arriving in the penalty area. Guilherme was there. Timbers tripped him, but it's fallen for Alberto Siles, and it's just over the crossbar. I thought he'd nestled that into the top of the net for a moment, but unfortunately, it goes over. But it's nice to see us looking quite comfortable, to be quite honest, so far. Villa trying to get into the game, but not really. Again, not really offering too much. We have got a couple of players tiring out wide, so we are going to make a couple of changes, I think, here. Again, we've not... It's strange, really. Not really noticed, but we haven't really got too many options out wide, in all honesty. Rippis is going to come on at left wing, and Guilherme can go out on that right-hand side, and we'll get... I think, to be fair, we can rest Sonogo today. We'll get Youngblood on in that attacking midfield role as well. And I have found as well, when we do make substitutions, obviously it does weaken the team because we tend to put a very strong side out to start with. But that is when the games start to turn, and I'm not entirely sure why it does that, but every time we make regular substitutions, it just doesn't seem to click with us. And it's a bit of a strange one again. 10 minutes to go. We're in that pinnacle point now. And I think, to be honest, despite players being tired, I think I will leave it as it is. Everyone's playing quite well. I'm not too concerned at the moment about losing this game. But hopefully the lads do maintain that focus going into these final minutes. Viner trying to switch the play for Rippis, and Villa managed to get it clear. And there is a counter-attack on here with Ramsey, and that's played through to McShane. And McShane has scored here for Aston Villa. It's his first goal of the season if he's stayed on side. I'm not sure if he has. But again, 89th minute. Goal's been disallowed. But again, it was the 89th minute, and we just lose focus for some reason. I'm going to call on the lads to focus a little bit because, and again, Villa getting an opportunity. We just switch off at the end of matches, thinking it's done, and we've conceded a penalty now. Every single game, we're conceding so many late goals at the moment. And we just really struggled to get over the line. Even when it's, I mean, we've been comfortable all game at 2-0. Bozek here with the penalty. And again, we concede the penalty and it gets scored against us. Tennis not getting particularly close to it, and it's only his second goal of the season. And we managed to hold on in the end, but once again, a late goal conceded. And again, um, I don't know what it is. Defensively, we're very strong. We've got so many really good defenders in this squad. But for whatever reason, we just really struggle to maintain at the end of a game. And the fact that we're doing it against teams that are threatened with relegation as well is a massive, massive concern. Gates started to settle in at Cardiff, by the way. Cardiff currently in ninth in the championship. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams within touching distance there at the moment. But he's had a pretty good start to the season so far, getting a clean sheet there as well against Plymouth. Griffith's been playing quite regularly as well for West Brom, who just have a look at the championship again. West Brom, by the looks of it, aren't actually having a very good season at all. They're actually down in the relegation zone, so not the best time for Dave Griffith at the moment, but he is improving and he's playing regularly, and that's what we wanted for him. So 3 days until the game away against Derby. Hopefully we can continue with these newfound winning ways. But again, we need to maintain this focus at the end of matches because it will come back to bite us, and it has done in the last couple of league games before today. So full focus needed. Let's come back for the Derby game and hopefully we can get another 3 points on the board. Okay then, guys, here we go for the game away against Derby County. After the win in our last game, a little bit more confidence in the side, but again, we just need to get that regularity. We are rotating a little bit once again. Tennis is in goal. Rippis, Capelli, Usmanu and Carrera at the back. Sales and Hadjo partner in midfield with Morrell wide left, Sonogo in the centre and Cook playing on right wing today. A little bit of a change of tact, but we'll see how things go. And we've got Almada up front as well. And players are fully fit, but with games every 3 days, we've got to keep this rotation at the moment. So hopefully we can just settle into a rhythm. The more players play, obviously, the better form they'll be in, hopefully. And we'll see how things go. But it should be a very winnable game once again. And Derby going with a straight up 4-4-2. That is a rarity to see, in all honesty. And again, hopefully we can get off to a quick start today. Here is Rippis with the throw into Sonogo. Now Capelli into Hadjo, finding the little bit of space in the centre. Plays it into Cook, gets tackled by Magoma, and that's really good tracking again from Cook. Obviously, he's used to playing in that central midfield, so coming back and defending is a big part of his game, and that is an emphatic finish by Nawel Almada in off the underside of the crossbar, absolutely crashes it into the back of the net there. Cook, really good challenging back from him, making 2 challenges in that central midfield. Anthony couldn't get his pass away. It's a lovely pass, and Almada one touch, right-footed strike off the underside of the bar. The keeper had no chance, and to be fair, I don't think many keepers would have had a chance on that one either. And that is the start that we were after. Incidentally, I'm looking at Sunderland there, beating Chelsea by a goal to nil at the moment. Ross is one of the top scorers in the Premier League, and yet Sunderland find themselves a little bit further down the table, I believe. Rippis here into Sonogo, looking for Carrera. He couldn't quite get enough on the pass, but once again we pick it up. And Usmanu into Carrera. It's a poor pass again. This time it's Carrera who's done it, and Anthony charging forward for Derby. Gets the cross in, and Usmanu with a vital interception there. That was a dangerous move from Derby. But now we're on the counter-attack going the other way with Sonogo. Plays back to Hadjo. Look at the space in the central midfield area there. Plays it in. Morrill. And that is another emphatic finish into the top corner. I believe VAR are having a look at this, potentially for offside. I mean, personally, I thought that it was okay, but he might have just mistimed the run. He didn't, and it's 2-0 here. It's a lovely, lovely finish again. Sonogo playing it inside. Look at the space. Obviously, with the 4-4-2, there's no one in that defensive midfield area. Morrill timed his run to perfection, and Sava couldn't keep it out. The sheer pace on the strike into the top corner makes it 2-0, and arguably we're in a position where we're getting the job done very early on here. Derby with their first attempt at goal after half an hour, but possession-wise, 75% we're edging towards now, and Derby are really struggling to cope with this at the moment. Manchester City leading away at Burnley as well. Incidentally, Arsenal haven't won in their last 4 Premier League games. They've drawn 3 of them and lost 1 as well. So it's quite close at the top of the table, and I'm feeling quite fortunate, to be honest, that with obviously we dropped quite a few points recently, and you start to think, what if, don't you? If we'd have managed to win against Leeds and Chelsea, we'd have been top of the Premier League at the moment. So it's tightening up, and it's getting quite close at the moment. Obviously, big games at the end of December against Manchester City and Arsenal in the Premier League, so that could be a telling difference, same as at the end of the season. Here is Alberto Sayles into Rippis, and now Morrill swings it in toward the far post, and Cook is there, and it's a good header from Cook, but again, just off target from him. Obviously, he's not used to playing quite so far forward, is he? But big opportunity, that one, and it would have certainly secured the victory today. Sonogo into Cook. That's a great pass over the top, and Morrill is in behind, and he makes no mistake with the finish. It's his 5th of the season. He was a bit of an unsung hero last season, to be fair, Morrill. I didn't really give him a lot of praise, but he did score quite a few goals for us in all competitions last year. Europa League especially, he was very influential. And last couple of games, obviously, he's had the opportunity and he's done quite well. He scored a couple of goals for us, so certainly giving me something to think about in that wide area as well as up front. 2 goals today for him, and 2 very good goals, I might add. He's taken them both extremely well. But we are dominating proceedings here, and this is the kind of form that we had at the start of the season. We were dominating teams, and this is how we should be doing every match. And Rippis trying to rip it into the top corner there. I'm sorry, bad pun, I know, but just over the crossbar, unfortunately, and it remains 3-0. We are going to get some substitutions done. Salvatore Ducey, he wants game time, as does Correa, so we'll switch the 2. Sayles is going to come off for James Hayes. He's one player that's never actually moaned about lack of football, to be fair, but he is only in as a squad player / rotation option. So, unfortunately, with the way that we've negotiated contracts, it has changed matters a little bit. Morrill is struggling a little bit for fitness. I don't really want to bring Medina on, I will be honest. I think, to be fair, we'll bring Romano on. We'll move Rippis a little bit further forward. We can get away without using the key players, then we will do. Rob Dow can come on for Sonogo as well for a bit of game time. And to be fair, Almada's done his job today. We'll get Marco Valencia on for him. It's all 5 substitutions being made with 20 minutes to go. And that should be that. We are trying to get Marco Valencia to go out on loan as well in January. There's no interest in him at the moment. There was interest in Ducey, but because we want wages paid, obviously we're not a charity case by any means. We want wages paid by the clubs that they're going to go out on loan to. And he's on 120 grand a week, so unfortunately he's not going to be easy to ship out on wage contribution. Here is Capelli. And now Romano. Rippis down this left-hand side. He is on the yellow card. I just hope he's going to be careful for the rest of the game, to be honest. Here is Cook. He's got support on this right-hand side with Ducey. And Ducey returns the pass into Cook, and there is space for him to run into, and Cook's strike goes wide. And again, he's not the best of finishers, really, Cook, but he's certainly done a good job for us out there. He's certainly been creative. 2 assists for him today. Cashin here with the throw. Beljo back to Cashin again. Swings it in very high. And the header from Hal Dawson should have been on target, really. And again, just switching off at the end of the game. It's a good opportunity for Derby, that was, but at least we managed to keep a clean sheet. That's something. Incidentally, speaking of clean sheets, Tennis with a good performance today, but he's been linked with the move back to Saudi Arabia, and annoyingly, he won't discuss terms about extending his contract. He only signed a 1 year deal in the first place, so we could end up losing him on a free, or we can potentially get around £30 million for him. And we did sign him for a free at the start of the season, of course. But I'm not too sure what's going to happen with Tennis going into the transfer window, so that could be another big um, decision that we have to make going forward towards January. But those two victories have really just pushed us up a little bit. We're looking a little bit more comfortable. We're 4 points clear of Newcastle and Spurs. Liverpool, of course, have got a game in hand, which if they win, they'll be just 2 points behind ourselves and Everton, who are, after a slow start to the season, they're right back up there as well. They've had a really good resurgence in their form. But with a game in hand against Manchester City, which if we were to win that, we'd only be 2 points behind them, and we're within touching distance of Arsenal now as well. It's certainly all to play for. And with the big games to come at the end of the month against those two sides, we've got every opportunity. Defeats against them both could certainly see us drop out of a title race, but it's going to be extremely tight this season, I think, especially with the same two matches in the last few games of the season for us as well. So going ahead, we have got some big games. Obviously, we've got Dortmund in the Champions League and Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. We've also got Watford and Crystal Palace in the Premier League. But we're going to come back for the two home Premier League games against those two sides, Arsenal and Manchester City. They're going to be the big games for us in this month. But we need to get the business done against Watford and Palace and obviously Sheffield United in between the Arsenal and City matches as well. We're going to have to rotate. We've got no choice. But hopefully we can just build up a momentum. And if we can win every Premier League game before going into the Arsenal and Manchester City game, including the Sheffield United game, of course, I think we'll be in a good position. It's just going to be a case of keeping things tight against Arsenal and City, I think, and hopefully we can come out on top and keep the pressure on for those two games. So until then, guys, thank you very much for your support. Please like, subscribe to the channel. It is all greatly appreciated. I will see you all next time. This is Big Will, signing away.